Okay. It is live, so I'm just gonna kind of
We're live.
assume it is live. All right. Welcome everyone to another edition of the 4GwQPodcast. As you can see, we are now an affiliate of the Inner Circle, the Tick Network. So happy for those guys over there to have allowed us to be an affiliate. I know a lot of great podcasts that over the past couple weeks have become affiliates. Our guys over at the Iron Lords podcast, they do a great show, and also the Basement Radio Arcade podcast, Next Level Gaming, all kind of coming together to form a tight podcast community. So going to be doing big things, I think, with this affiliation. So we're happy to be part of it. And Clowns is already writing over there as we speak with some comic articles. He's done a couple now. What are you up to, like 4 or 5?
I'm up to 6.
6, Jesus. Wow. Yeah, I knew you've been just trudging along over there in the comic space. I've read a couple of them. Pretty good. Still haven't. I went to my local comic store and they did not have any Sea of Thieves stuff, which I'm really pissed about. They did have it at one point, but it just flew out the door, so to speak. But anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about the gents. We've got making his 168th straight appearance. ZBCI Assassin looking great as always. What's going on?
Hi.
We also have with us Italian Clowns, who we were just talking about. What's going on, Clowns?
Hey, what's up, man?
And as you can see, we have a lonely fourth spot, hoping to fill that on a weekly basis. Probably not with the same person. We'll get someone different to fill out the Four Guys panel now that Taylor is adulting. So just for tonight, we're rocking 3. We had Xbot on a couple weeks ago, so we're gonna get community people to come in. Not just Xbox people, but PlayStation, Nintendo people, whoever really. So look out for that. For tonight, we have quite a few topics. We've got State of Decay 2. Everyone bitching about the co-op on that. We'll get into whether or not that's a big deal. Clowns is already breaking out the baby cries over here. We've also got to talk about the Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer. It's the third trailer I think they've released, and it was a juicy one. Lots of info on that. We'll get into that. Assassin finally has a PlayStation again, and he cried like a little baby when he opened it and licked the controller and
Licked? That I don't know where this controller's been.
and it smelled it. He loved the new controller smell. He smelled the console and all that jazz. So we'll get
No,
his.
but the God of War game I came with it had a really strong smell.
I told you, you smelled it. I called it.
Just remember, only Assassin knows where it's been.
Right. That's right.
I don't. It was packaged somewhere and built somewhere.
Well, there you go. Well, anyway, Assassin's got a PS4. He'll talk about that. He'll talk about his experience with God of War. Out of the 3 of us, I think he's the only one who's completed it, as it did come with his special edition console. So we'll get his thoughts on that. And we'll talk about, obviously, in the first couple of days, that game sold over 3 million units, which is huge for single-player games. I think that definitely dispels the notion that single player is dead. So we'll get into that in a little bit. We'll talk about more Sony topics this week. PlayStation, I guess, Sony filing a patent for some DRM protections, which apparently they were so against at one point, and now they're for it. It looks like. So we'll get into that and how that affects everyone. The games on that platform. We'll also get into, what else do we have tonight? Games Pass going up in price potentially. We saw a few leaks from Amazon, Best Buy about a month and a half, 2 months ago about the price going up in the U.S. They had, Games Pass gift cards that were like $11, $10. I think a couple of them were like $12. And they had different denominations, and now we get confirmation that in Europe it looks like the price is going up. So is that coming stateside? Is that coming to Canada? Is that coming to everywhere where Games Pass is available? We'll get into that and whether or not that's really a big deal. Other than that, I think that's pretty much wraps it up. So it's going to be a good show tonight. Anyway, we already announced the Tick thing. That was the big affiliate announcement that I kind of teased on Twitter through the 4GwQPodcast. If you're not following us there, 4GwQPodcast is our handle there. Make sure you guys follow for all the news, giveaways, when the podcast is live, all that good stuff. But yeah, gracious for Tick to bring us on. I know Clowns wants to speak about it real quick because he kind of made the push for it. He went over there before we did as a podcast and kind of joined them as, an entertainment writer, more or less. So Clowns, you wanna talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, the one thing I want to say is that everybody at Tick works hard. They're all good people. Everyone I've spoken to that's associated with Tick, whether they're an affiliate or on the inside, they're just awesome people, and they want to see everybody succeed, and that's what they do. They help people. They want to bring you news. They want to bring you live action events and stuff. So it's great, man. Go check out Tick.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all the podcasts associated with Tick, I'm actually, I do listen to on a regular basis. When you're working, it's tough sometimes, but when you're road tripping for work, when you're, not so busy, when you're traveling like I do a lot, you do get the opportunity to listen to podcast after podcast. And I've been on a few of those podcasts that's affiliated with that Tick, and they have their own podcast as well. So, check out their stuff. I mean, they've been making a big push, and I know a few people who've gone over there to start writing and start editing and that kind of thing. Sam Tolbert comes to mind, a good guy. Met him last year at E3. Used to be at RGM. Now he's at Tick, and excellent writer for a young guy his age. Excellent editor. So they're bringing on some good talent and making a real push. So we're happy to be a part of that, of course. I see everyone in the chat. Thanks for coming to watch live, of course. If you're not watching live, let us know if you like the show, of course. But if you can let me know if the audio is good, because it kind of looks like it's not good on my end. I don't know why that is, but it's looking like a little weirder than usual. So let me know if the audio is okay. All right.
Siberia said that it's too loud.
I would listen, but because he's at work. He says back to work. I would listen, but it's too loud at work. We could whisper. We could whisper for the work podcast. Can you imagine? That would be a cool podcast to have where you just whisper, or you just, record it ahead of time, just turn the audio way down so you can get away with listening to it at work.
Hello, Assassin. Hi, Assassin.
Hi. PS4. Pretty sweet, right?
It's nice.
That's actually a cool idea. I'm going to mull that over. Anyway, speaking about mulling it over, a bunch of outlets, Polygon, GameSpot, all the big ones, Eurogamer, etc., got a chance to try out State of Decay for I think 3 hours or so. And a lot of them weren't a big fan of it. Some people were, some people weren't. Made a little bit of a joke slide here about State of Decay, where the big complaints, of course, were the fact that you were tethered to whoever the host was pretty tightly. I guess it's like 450 meters is the furthest you can go away from the host. And also game progression, in a way, doesn't carry over to your own game. So the complaints are there. I think GameSpot really is the one who kind of started off this huge rage on Twitter about, State of Decay being dead on arrival, so to speak. And the big push for State of Decay 2 back in E3, maybe 2 years ago at this point, but definitely last year, was that the game is co-op and drop-in, drop-out co-op, I believe. And I think that's a huge part of the game. So, if that thing's broken, people are not going to be so excited to play it. But let me get your thoughts. I know Clowns... I kind of want to let Clowns go first here, Assassin. No shade to you at all, but Clowns opened the thing crying.
Lots of shade to you, Assassin. Go sit in the corner.
He opened the show crying, making fun of some of these what he would call babies, I'm sure. So, give us your thoughts on this, Clowns. You think it's a big deal or not?
I think right now it's not a big deal. I mean, the game is set to launch. A lot of people haven't even played it yet to see what they think for themselves. And I'm just really tired of I got to say this, man. I think the media just wants to always pick on the bad stuff on a lot of Xbox stuff. And that's what's getting out to the people. And all the people are like, oh, Polygon said this, IGN said that. It's just ridiculous, man. Try it for yourself. See if you like it. If there's problems and you don't like it, don't play it. I mean, you can always Game Pass it right now. The Game Pass is like $1. even Assassin get that. You know what I'm saying? So just try it out for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, if you're gonna just make your decision to write this thing off based on a preview of a game that's not out for 3 weeks, they could potentially change. I think that, you know, you're relying a little bit too much on media. You know, you're relying a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't even suggest that you fully follow what we say. Like, we're just average gamers. I mean, our tastes are different than yours. You may like it, you may hate it. I mean, we're gonna point out shit that we don't like and do like in games, and that's the point of a podcast. But I mean, in the end, it's just opinions. And, you know, if a lot of people are saying that these things are bad, but your play style is different, then, you know, it may not be so bad. I was talking to Rand about this the other night. Randall Thorne 19, good friend of the show, great guy. I was talking to him the other night in DMs, and I was saying to him, you know, like, if your play style doesn't make you stray away too much from the host, and you guys like to, you know, approach everything in a group of 4 or whatever you're playing with, that tether thing isn't going to be a big deal. But if you're the kind of type that wants to, you know, keep a man back at your home base and defend while, you know, the other 3 go out and explore so that your home base doesn't get destroyed or overrun by zombies and whatnot, this is going to be a bad time for you. So it really depends on your play style. So I think Clowns is right when he says that you probably shouldn't, you know, wait and see. I mean, Games Pass, you can get a free trial, 14 days, handing those things out like candy, you know, or, you know, $1 to try it. That's what they've been advertising, $1 to try it. So just wait until the game comes out and try Games Pass. It's included. So anyway, Assassin, what do you think about this, bud?
I think the tethering thing should just go away. I hate it. It was terrible in Ark. It was terrible in Far Cry. Clowns and I didn't have a huge problem in Far Cry because we just fished for like 4 hours straight. But to get one of the last achievements. But it's annoying. Like, you know, Clowns could be sniffing some roses, and then I'm here getting ambushed by zombies, and I go out of the tether and just, I don't know. It's stupid. Games should never have that, especially an open world game.
Right. So that's the thing. I think that's the thing. The way you just closed that right there is it's an open world game. So, you know, even though me personally, like, I'm not the kind of player that if this were, you know, 4-player co-op, I'm not the kind of person that would just, like, you know, sit back and let my buddies go, or have one of my buddies sit back and then I go. I'd want to, like, approach it as a 4-man crew kind of thing, because that's what we did. You know, in State of Decay, the demo at PAX. But I don't know. I think it's all right. I don't think it's that big of a deal for me, but for other people.
I mean, just think about it. Like, you'll go on a 4-man pack. Okay, you attack this thing, but then, like, I haven't really watched anything on State of Decay 2, but you get ambushed by zombies. You have to split up, or someone, you know, sees something shiny, but you don't say anything because they're, you know, mic problems, and they run away, and then you lose the shiny thing or whatever, and it's stupid.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
You know,
the
tether thing, it doesn't bother me, to be honest with you, because someone like me, you know, sometimes Assassin will just, I don't know, have YouTube up or like a guide up, and he's like going after everything. So he'll just tag me along if I'm a little bit behind. No big deal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it really depends on communication. It depends on your play style. I think for some people, it's going to be a really big deal. I know I watched Rand's video. He's not even going to play in co-op anymore, so it's that big of a deal to some people. But you're right. I mean, it's an open world game. You should be, no matter if you're in 4-player co-op or if you're playing it by yourself with AI crew members or whatnot, I think you should be able to do whatever you want to do. I mean, that's the point of the game, right?
I mean, I'll tell you that if there was tethering in PUBG, I would have survived when I had to go use the restroom. You know what I mean? So instead of getting blown up by like whatever that was.
Hey, sometimes it has its benefits, right? What were you gonna say, Assassin?
Well, kind of what Clown said. What if you had to take a dump, or Clown says he'll be right back, which is like 5 hours from now, and you have to sit there. You have a small radius, but you clear everything, and you're just sitting there waiting for someone to, you know, finish wiping or finish, you know, putting some ham on their sandwich or something. Like, you're forced to sit there.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a bad decision. I think, hopefully there's time to fix it, because I think more people are going to be upset than not upset. Like for me, like I've kind of suggested, it's not really too big of a deal, but like I think more people are going to be dissuaded from it. And obviously you got big outlets, like GameSpot saying, they're worried about the game succeeding because, it's the next big console exclusive to release, I think, on either platform. And
but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of these people that are complaining about it love Far Cry 5.
No, and that's true. Yeah. So there is a little bit of a hypocrisy. I mean, not a little bit. There's a lot of hypocrisy in the media right now, and that's not, very easily portrayed. And granted, different people do different reviews on different games, but at the same time, when you're tweeting out on GameSpot or GameSpot's tweeting out their articles, they're not saying like who wrote this, who wrote that, whatever. It looks like it's just one opinion. So it definitely looks hypocritical for sure. I agree with that. Let me get to the chat really quick. Timothy Dixon says, don't think it's a big deal, and if it is a problem after release, I'm sure the devil will fix it or change it. Yeah, so I think they actually need to change it before release, or they have to, maybe it's not enough time, but at release they're gonna have to assure people that they're working on it, kind of like what Sea of Thieves did at launch, where people were worried about the path of how that game was gonna flesh itself out with content. They right from the get-go were like, okay, this is kind of like what we're going to do on our roadmap, not necessarily specifics, but they assured people that there's going to be a roadmap and this and that and the other thing, because people were complaining right from the get-go that the thing didn't have content. And companies need to assuage the fears of their clients, or else they're going to be in trouble. David S says, let me see, why would you defend the base if you can only progress with that character? We'll get to that in a minute. We're talking about the tether thing right now, but we'll get to that in a second, because that is a good point. And then he says, do you imagine it releasing like Watch Dogs 2, small sales, but then people start to recommend it and skyrockets? That's kind of like Rainbow Six Siege as well. There are quite a few games that are like that. Do I think that'll happen? I don't know, because it's part of Games Pass, It's almost like, if you're counting Games Pass sales, then probably, but it's hard to judge when you include Games Pass. But what do you guys think about that? Do you think it's going to be one of those games that right at launch it doesn't do too hot, but they kind of fix things and then it becomes a big performer?
I don't think so. Unless they do something like after the game release that's huge, I think it's not going to do like Siege. Obviously not Siege numbers, but it's not going to skyrocket unless they do something big.
Yeah, I think this is a mediocre game that's going to do mediocre sales, and I think it's going to sell to the same niche that bought State of Decay 1.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not saying it's a bad game, and I mean, so I love State of Decay 1, but I just think, it's not a, in-your-face AAA title.
And that's kind of like what Xbox needs this year. I mean, last year was an absolute joke. This year, this is kind of like one of the things they were hanging their laurels on. I mean, the game is gorgeous. I saw, obviously, saw the game at PAX, played the game at PAX, tweeted about it. I was very impressed with the graphics. I mean, does it run, buttery smooth? Absolutely not. I mean, they were showing it off on PCs with 1060s, 1070s. They were showing it off on a variety of kind of hardware. And on the Xbox One X, yeah, they were a little bit of stuttering, but the game was gorgeous. It wasn't anything that made you think that it wasn't going to be fixed at launch. Like, I fully expect this game to be 4K 30 locked at launch, and that's perfectly playable for a game like this. And bugs here and there, obviously people get upset about those, but if they're not game breaking, I would say, don't not buy the game because of a few bugs, But yeah, I think Clowns, you're right. I think they need to be worried about the fact that it's not going to sell past that niche audience that had State of Decay 1. Because I know a few people that are buying it that didn't play State of Decay 1, but pretty much everyone that I know that's like really interested in this game are State of Decay 1 veterans. Like, no one talks about this as like, oh, I really want to get into State of Decay because it looks interesting, and I've never, I didn't play the first game because I never heard of it. There are people who just didn't play the first game because, they didn't want to, and they're buying it now. But most people, who are checking this out and are really interested, checked out the first game. All right, another thing that we're gonna get to now that David S brought up in the chat a little bit earlier is that another big knock on this thing is that you don't progress 100% in co-op like you think you would. So what I mean by that is that if you join your friend's co-op game, you kind of like help that host progress in terms of missions, in terms of building up their base and fortifying their base and whatnot. But when you go back to yours, it's it's not built up. Those missions aren't done. Those areas aren't cleared. So it's like you can't necessarily focus on playing in a 4-player co-op and building up one base and calling it your home. I mean, everyone has their own home really, and a lot of people are upset about that because the only thing that carries over is influence, which is like kind of like XP but kind of like currency that lets you buy parts and fortifications, stuff like that, and also like scrap and stuff that you pick up, the parts you can bring over to your own game. But other than that, you can't really bring anything. So what do you guys think about that? I'm kind of upset about that part, but what do you guys think?
That is very stupid, because we all know I get kind of bored of games real quick. So if I spent 10 hours in Clown's world, whatever, I'm not going to spend those same 10 hours doing almost the same exact stuff in my world. Like, that's just a complete waste of my time to do something over again.
But the thing is, I think with this, I mean, in State of Decay 1, it wasn't always the exact same playthrough that you got.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they were advertising that you could, do this in your world and then have totally different experience in yours. But still, you have like almost probably the same goals. Building stuff and fortifying stuff and whatnot.
Right. So that's the thing. Like, if you know about State of Decay, you know that not everyone's playthrough is the exact same. But I think Assassin's right is that the main goal is that you want to fortify your base to a point where you can go out and journey and make a run at securing other areas and clearing out the zombies and whatnot without your base taking too much damage. And if you're working like Assassin said, you're working like 10 hours in somebody else's game. He jumps into your game, Clowns. I jump into your game. We work in 10 hours and your forts build up. And then we hop back in our game when you're not on. You know what I mean? And our base is like shit. That can be frustrating. And also it's like I heard earlier today that, and I'm not 100% certain, and if anyone in the chat knows, let me know. But I heard that you can't even share the same locker. Like, if you are playing with 4 other people, you can't like take stuff out of the host locker. Like, if they find materials, you can't use those materials even on their base. Like, they only have access to their own stuff.
Well, that makes sense, because like I've had some experiences not with like materials, but like Minecraft. Like, let someone help me build something, and then they just destroy it. Or you could have someone come in, you have this rare material, Clowns comes in, he wants to be a total douchebag, he grabs all my materials and then quits.
Whoa, hold on, let's hold on a second,
that was
everybody.
aimed at you, definitely.
Let's talk about Assassin and what he does. Like, in my
I wasn't aiming it towards you. I was just
No.
You're the first thing that popped in my head, but I'm just
proven.
Or Inferno, or someone in the chat joins us, takes all the materials and leaves, and we have nothing. Like, that's time wasted. Like, I don't want to ever experience that. I had some Minecraft, like I said, someone's building something. Instead, he built dicks all over my thing I was making and poured lava on stuff. Like, come on.
Well, yeah, okay. There definitely is that fear, and that is definitely, a situation you'd want to avoid, especially if you'd put in a lot of time into making your base. But like in Minecraft, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't really. I didn't get into Minecraft as much as you, nearly as much as you did. Isn't there like a switch that you can like switch on and off, whether people can do edits or people can like use your materials and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I feel like there should be like that. Maybe there is, and these people just didn't see it because of the build that they were playing. But I would love for there to be a setting where you can be like, okay, I know these people. These people are chill. They can use my stuff. They can help me build this kind of thing. Versus like you just queue up on like LFG or something on Xbox Live, and you grab like 3 randos in a different country or something, and they come in, they just blast away your shit. Like I hope there is a toggle for that.
I mean, it could be a thing if a lot of people request it, that if the devs want to pay attention to people, then that could be a thing.
David says you can jump in for a specific mission. Yeah, I mean, I think the drop-in, drop-out co-op, I think, is really cool. I think that's a cool thing, and I think that's probably a limitation and why, to enable that, why it can't really work for, like, carrying over in your own story. But games like Borderlands did that, Borderlands, I mean, it depends on what progression you're talking about in Borderlands, but there were parts of it where you can drop in, do a mission, and drop out, and that mission was completed. So it's games have done that kind of thing before, and I hope that they figure out a way to get that done within the next 3 months or something. Because if this game goes throughout the entire 2018 and these things are still problems, specifically the progression thing for me, the tethering thing, like I said, not a big deal, but the progression thing, I'm gonna be upset about that. I think that's kind of a big deal. Oh, you got a fan in the chat, clowns. Listen to you on Iron Lords. Monkey Punch 77. Cool guy. Appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Love those guys over at ILP.
Oh my god, funny guys, man. Lord King, one of the funniest guys I've ever met on Xbox. Anyway, other than that, you guys have anything else to say about these previews? I mean, like I said, we're analyzing previews.
Yeah, there's something I think. I think they should put in the game, the first couple of days it launches. Do you like the way that we tether? And if you say no, they should have an Easter egg that pops up and says, "Okay, Crybaby, go play Far Cry 5 co-op."
I don't think they'll do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's gonna happen, but that
Ark Survival was worse than Far Cry. I think you got 5 feet away from someone and it yells at you.
Yes.
Or when Assassin just does the parachute drop and you just automatically teleport to the ground insta-dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was fun.
Oh, okay. David S. makes a good point in the chat, which, very good point. State of Decay has only a few non-repeatable missions, so that's why progression in Borderlands won't work. Yeah, and that's kind of like what Clown said, is that, it's not like the missions are the same exact thing for everyone. You know what I mean? That's kind of like why I think it's going to work out, but, man, it just bothers me that, I won't be able to carry over progress I made in fortifying bases and stuff like that. That's what I'm more upset about than, missions, so to speak. I don't care if I'd have to repeat a mission, so.
My memory might serve me a little wrong here, but I remember in the first one, you could choose several different bases. It wasn't always the same base.
Right.
You could go further and choose a different base, or you could skip that one area and pick a different base. So I think, I don't even know how big the world's going to be in State of Decay 2. I didn't see anything on that. But even if it's just a little bit bigger, there's probably a few more bases to choose from.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah. I mean, you can fortify different areas for sure in this one. So, I mean, yeah, depending on how big the world is, I mean, that it's going to be a problem. I mean, we don't know yet. That's the thing. And I think that's kind of why what I was starting to say about, that this is only a preview. It's people are analyzing previews. Make your own decisions and wait until all the info is out. It's I understand they brought in these press people for a 3-hour demo for a reason. If they thought it wasn't good, they weren't gonna just bring these people in for them to come out trashing the thing. You know what I mean? It's like, why would you bring in all these people for a 3-hour demo if you thought they were just like gonna come out and do something like what GameSpot did, like this, like Xbox One's next big console exclusive has us worried. Like, I don't think they expected this. I think they need to learn from, you know, how people want to play a game like this. I bet you they thought that the tether was like productive, you know, in a way. Yeah, you know, people, I feel like it's like 90-10. People hate tethers versus people that like them, but you know, it could be a problem, it could not. We got to kind of wait, you know. I feel like we got to kind of wait. Looking in the chat to see if there's anything else, but I don't think there is. But yeah, so State of Decay, just wait. I mean, honestly, guys, like PAX East playing that game, that was probably my favorite game I played at PAX. I thought it was excellent. I know Jizzle, I don't think Jizzle's in the chat, but if he is, he can speak to it because Jizzle played it and he actually really enjoyed it. And he doesn't really like games like that. And I think, you know, it looks great. I think eventually, you know, it'll play well when it comes out. You know, I think it has potential, but like Clown said, I think it's going to be a niche game. Really quick, one last comment here in the chat. Only way I can, Timothy Dixon says, only way I can see progression working differently when playing in another player's session is carrying time spent and adding it to your own base upon return. Yeah, that would be perfect. I think that's perfect. You know, I think there are ways to work it in that they can pull people. You know, you get people like Assassin that see that a survey pops up and they're like, oh my God, pause, let me go to my survey. Click. You know, you get people like that that are dying to take surveys, dying to be insiders, dying to.
I don't think I've ever got that excited for surveys.
Yep. Dude, I remember in the past, like you got a message from Xbox Live and you'd be like, oh, I got a message from Xbox. And then you like check the message and be like, oh, it's a survey, cool. And we'll have to like take the survey before we could like dominate some cactuses and shit, and cacti I should say, in PvZ. But
they're gonna say Minecraft and like they don't move.
No. Anyway, that's the State of Decay thing. Let's move on because I feel like we've been beating a dead horse, and I feel like pretty much everyone has. Like, just wait, Jesus. Anyway, we've got a couple of PlayStation topics tonight, which we usually don't have a ton of PlayStation topics. We got to work on that a little bit. But a couple of PlayStation topics. One of them is a big one because Assassin got himself a nice PS4. And I hope you're watching the stream, Assassin, because I made a little avatar of you with a little smiley face. So Sassy gets a PS4 again. He gets the PS4 God of War Special Edition console, which we trashed on this show. But according to him, and I'll let him speak on this, it actually is decently good looking, no?
The console is all right. I can barely see it because it's in the cabinet thing. But the controller, I think that looks really nice. I really like the silver they got on there, and then the God of War.
Oh, touchpad. Yeah,
that
nice.
is really nice.
Yeah.
And then as for the game, I think right as it stands, God of War is probably either the best or like really high up there with probably the best games I've played on a PlayStation. And that's with like Uncharted 4 on the last one.
Oh no, you're a fanboy.
Yep. Sony Pony. You can call me that.
Can you give us a nay? Can you give us a little pony nay? Now that you have one again?
Nay.
Wow, that was so weak, dude. That was weak. Yeah, I'm glad you're back on this train. I'm glad you got a war and finished it because I was away for work and I was, it's again, every time I go away from work for work and a big game comes out. Last time I went away, it was Destiny 2. This time it's God of War, and it's just like, can I play a game, please? So I'm glad at least one of us finished it. I guess you didn't finish it completely because you platinum it, but finished the story and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it is so good. Like before I started playing like The Last of Us, like I was so tempted to start a new game because I enjoyed it that much. It was like the whole game felt smooth. I didn't see any frame rate drops. There might have been one. I'm not too sure. The lore and stuff like they had with the gods and stuff, that was really good. Because a lot of time, like they'll just like if I guess a little spoiler, if you're on a boat, like they'll tell you like certain things that happened in the world, and I'll just stop and listen to it because it's very interesting. And then his Kratos axe, I think, is like so much fun. You just chuck that thing, and it just comes right back to you, and you can still beat people up without having to find it.
Dude, I thought I was gonna hate that because I started playing it and I throw the thing and I'm like, dude, I have to press a button for this thing to come back. But it actually is nice. Like, I like that mechanic because, there's, at least early on in the game, there's a few advantages of using fists a little bit in terms of, this isn't really spoilers, but whatever.
Oh, it's spoiling it for me.
All right, I'll try to dumb it down a little bit, but essentially using fists can help you trigger like quick time events and stuff versus using the axe in the early game. So you do have a little bit of an advantage there, and you can use the returning axe as an attack. You could like throw the axe and it hits somebody or whatever. You go up to them, beat them with your fists, and then like use it as a combo by pressing the triangle button and return the axe. And just that flow of attack is just it feels so rewarding, and it really is as simple as throwing a friggin' axe. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it just feels so rewarding,
And then later on, there's this really cool move I like. It if you throw your axe and you start running at someone, and like you do a jump or something, you can return the axe and just do a huge heavy attack. It's so cool to watch.
Man, I'm jealous. I need to get through this game. Get through this game so badly. Yeah, I
it's so good, and I don't even want to play it. No, I'm being I'm being serious because I feel like once I play it and I beat it, I'm gonna feel sad because I'm gonna want to go back and play it.
No, it's a sad day when the credits roll.
So, how many hours do you think you put into it, Assassin?
Oh God, I put a good amount, but I played it like non-stop, so I don't really know all too much. But it was a good chunk of time.
I would say he probably put at least like a good many hours, like 4 days in his time, which would mean like probably like what 16 hours a day, Assassin?
No, that's a lot. No, there's a lot of breaks, but I mean. My battery did drain from full to the end for my PS4 controller, so a few times.
Just to give you a timed idea, Inferno, maybe you can calculate this, but he would hop on Xbox after playing it for like 4 or 5 hours, and he'd be like, "Clowns, I'm bored." And I'll be like, "Okay." No, and like 2 minutes later, he'll be like, "I'm going back on PS4."
Yeah.
Nice. That's great. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And now you have a pro, you can like really appreciate the graphics. And this is a game that like the graphics, even though it's checkerboarded, the graphics are really something special. Like very, very good.
Assassin, did you ever get the 4K run on your TV with it?
Yeah, I mean, I just had to plug in the HDMI. The thing that only has one port on my TV is HDR. So I have to unplug my Xbox One X from the TV and plug the Pro in the same spot.
Yeah, you got to watch out for people that own 4K TVs. Some TVs only one of the ports will do that, so you gotta be careful or like pay attention and you gotta like actually. Some people are like, "Whoa, the HDR is so great! Like, I love how this looks or whatever," and they're plugged into one of those other ports. Like, they have no idea what they're looking at. Some of these TVs will trigger at the top right, it'll say, or top left or wherever, it depends on your TV model, it'll say like HDR, or it'll say Dolby Vision or whatever. I know my TV does it in the top right, but my old TV didn't do that. So I had a Sony nice 10-bit panel, really nice HDR set before I went to OLED. And when you went to HDR, it did not tell you. So, you got to be careful because sometimes it just doesn't say. And some people think they're getting it. They're not getting it. I mean, to me, it's like I know at this point because I've seen both and I kind of can tell, and I play on multiple TVs and that kind of thing. But You just gotta pay attention.
I recommend going to The Last of Us, like towards the end, when I guess it's a little spoiler. You see some giraffes. I posted a picture of this on Twitter. Like with that HDR, it looks like it's so gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah, PlayStation, honestly, even the base model, PlayStation does a decent job with HDR. I mean, now that HDR is pretty much on all of them, Xbox One S, Xbox One X, and base model. I'm pretty sure it's on Slim. Yeah, it's got to be on PlayStation Slim. I don't have one, so I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it is. On Pro, they all do a really good job with HDR, and I don't think there's like a huge advantage in HDR going from base model of either to the high end model. So you're gonna get that stuff from either one. Anyway, so before we get off this and go on to the next PlayStation topic, Assassin, what else have you been playing now that you've got one back?
I played some Knack.
Yes.
Played like 2.5 chapters and thought it was one of the worst exclusive games I've ever played. And quickly uninstalled it. We're not going back to that game ever again. I finished. I started yesterday, but I finished Beyond Two Souls.
Yep.
And that was a better game than I originally thought. There was some stupid times like the game just randomly froze, and I had to restart the entire game. Not like the story, but just had to close the application, start it up. But then I thought William Dafoe and I forget her name, but I think they did both a great job with their characters in that game. Then I also started Bloodborne. Great game. I almost beat that too. It's a lot shorter than I was expecting. So
nice. Bloodborne have not completed that. The game, man, I'm just not good at those Souls kinds of games. Which sucks go ahead.
In case you don't know, Assassin is a pale blood.
I don't even know what that means.
Assassin, do you know what that means?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Pale blood is something from the Bloodborne, I guess, universe, and it's more in the comics probably than the game. But it references like the sanctuaries, like the churches, and there's pale bloods in them, and those pale bloods can get the hunter like out of the nightmare.
Gotcha. You're a pale blood. You're a filthy pale blood.
No.
Response to that. Yeah, dude, we gotta play some Knack 2. Get some Knack 2 action going. Game is great.
Like I said this too many times. If it ever goes free with PlayStation Plus, I'll co-op it with you. But I am not spending. I don't know how much it is, but I'm not spending that money.
Yeah, I think it's only like $20 at this point, but I think I got it for like. I must have gotten it for like $15. But yeah, so Assassin is a PlayStation again. So everyone, add him on PlayStation. What's your PSN ID? ZPCI_assassin. Oh shit.
Yeah, no spaces.
Rough. All right, another PlayStation topic, which is kind of surprising based on how Sony came out of the gate back in 2013 with their insulting and poking fun at Microsoft's intended DRM policies. It looks like that Sony has filed a patent for what they call, essentially it's DRM, but they call it blockchain-based digital rights management. So, I don't know what the hell blockchain-based is. I kind of was trying to read up on it, and you know how patent filings are kind of like wishy-washy on, you have to read through a lot of the bullshit in order to get the gist of it, but I read a few articles on the gist of it, and essentially, and correct me if I'm wrong, Clowns, I'll let you kind of take over here, but if essentially there's going to be, or Sony's thinking about doing some activation keys for their games.
Yeah, according to the patent filed on April 26th, and the source is on hackinformer.com, Sony filed this patent, and in the patent there's like a few steps in there Sony outlines, and one of them is activation keys based on hashes on their server. So you'd enter a key in like you would on Steam, and then Sony DRMs it and activates it to your PlayStation. And then if you try to game share with somebody, they would have to even purchase their own key. And there's even mention that if you take the PlayStation out of your house, or whatever system they call it then, out of your house, and it's at a different location, you may have to reactivate it and buy another key as well.
Man, that is such a flip-flop compared to what they came out of the gate with, 5 years ago. And who knows if they're going to do this on PS4. I'm guessing they're not, because it's already established. People have games. It's we're 5 years into the gen at this point. And maybe this is a play for whatever they're coming out with next, whether it's PS5, whether it's cloud gaming, whatever it is. I'm suspecting it's for PS5, but it's kind of scary. Like, it's almost like, okay, what are we going to end the used game market? Like, obviously, if you buy a used game, you can't get a code, or are you going to have to buy like a discounted code? Like, for instance, you get your hands on a disc, and you say, okay, well, I bought this secondhand, and Sony's like, oh, you bought this secondhand? All right, here's a secondhand code or something. I don't know. I don't know how that would work. That people would probably abuse that, but I feel like that. And I want to get what you guys think about this, but I feel like if they were to institute this like code for all purchases, it's kind of like already dead on arrival. Like, people are just going to be really pissed about that, to the point where, people love their used games and getting a deal and sharing stuff. So it's like, how are they going to get away with this,
Well, it was like, what was it? EA with their online passes. I had to buy one for Mass Effect 3. It was $10 just to play, I think, a few hours of multiplayer, because I thought I was going to play it more with people, but I was just abandoned. But it's stupid. Like, you bought the game, you should have it, everywhere.
Yes.
Having to
yes.
pay to play it somewhere else.
And the
oh, go ahead, Clowns, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, based on the article and the underground scene that's talking about it right now, they all speculate these would be retail price keys at $60 each.
Jesus, so there aren't going to be any discounts whatsoever. Now that's crazy, man. Because I wonder how GameStop's going to deal with that. Like, are they going to get themselves like discounted keys? Like, are they going to build that into their price and say, okay, well, we'll make sure this game has a key? Like, how are they going to deal with that? Because I feel like I feel like GameStop is gonna just get crushed by something like this.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying, Inferno, could make sense. Maybe, other companies will try to be like a DRM locker, and they'll buy the keys at a discount and then resell them, and maybe they could do their own sales on them. But there's a couple points to this, and Timothy brought up one as well as pretty good. PS4 firmware did get cracked up to 4.55. So they have exploits for after that, but they're not releasing them right now because they're waiting for Sony's next patches before they release them. And the other thing is this blockchain-based digital rights management, the way that Sony phrased it, there's other companies that are trying to do block-based digital rights management as far as like transmission of games go. Kind of like, I guess, from what I understand, how like BitTorrents, you have so many people seeding at the same time, and it like alleviates the stress off one server because you're only getting a portion of it. And some companies were thinking about doing a blockchain-based digital rights management system like that. But now that Sony just patented the title, that could throw the whole thing into like, a can because it gets sued.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I can't, like, I try to wrap my head around this. As soon as you sent this to me, Clowns, I'm like thinking left and right here. Like, how are they going to actually get this to like go over well with the public? And I just can't think of a situation where, and of course, like you just said, like, there's a lot more to this than, I'm kind of like simplifying it to, but at the same time, it's like, people have to be informed, and we're a kind of informed audience, and even some of us don't understand the whole gist of what this blockchain-based thing is. And it's kind of like, how are you gonna push this on the public and get them to accept this? I feel like it's never gonna happen. So I don't know what they're using this for, what they're planning, or how they feel like they're going to tell their investors that this is going to be accepted. But I feel like investors are smart enough to know. I mean, yes, it means more money for investors for sure. But I feel like investors are the kind of people that know that, you know, the public gets butthurt easily, as we've already talked about with State of Decay, that, you know, upset them and you'll be dead to them. You know, look at Lawbreakers. Look at, you know, there's been a few, you know, Star Wars Battlefront 2. Like, that game totally underperformed over, you know, stuff that it wasn't even that big of a deal, really. I mean, you know, it's just like, I don't know how they're going to pass this one over. And you, more than any of us here, I think, Clowns, knows the whole in and outs of this. Even you, I feel, don't know how this is going to go over well.
No, yeah, I think that if Sony does decide to enact this type of DRM, I mean, just because they filed the patent doesn't mean they're going to go through with it. They just might be wanting to copyright it and everything. But if they do go through with it, they're probably thinking they could shove it down everybody's throats because the PS4 sold so well, and they know they have loyal return customers. Also, on top of this, it could be a means to push like their PS Now subscription, because they could be like, well, you know, if you have PS Now, you won't need to worry about getting retail keys if you game share. So they could do stuff like that.
Yes.
But the bad part about this is, let's say that, you know, in the past, the problems with some Sony products was that there's like skeleton keys that hackers would find.
Yes.
So if, let's say, a skeleton key got found for an activation server, all a hacker would have to do is make a man-in-the-middle server attack, like a spoof, and people would like pay the hacker to activate the games.
Right. Yeah, dude, the point about the skeleton keys is huge. Like, I think, and look at you know, look at like, even for Sony software where that kind of thing was figured out, and you could just like download programs that generated keys and stuff like that. You know, I remember that back in the day with like Sony Vegas and a lot of Sony programs. You could just do that, you know, and you could just like, you know, pay, or not necessarily pay, but hacker groups made that their mission to figure out how to dig up those keys and stuff.
Yeah, you know, in the end of things, Inferno, I agree with you. I think that this is going to be like a dinosaur company trying to instill a new product, and it's going to backfire big time because it's going to upset the whole underground scene that they want to keep quiet. Yep. If this does get enacted.
And, you know, firmware is already cracked, like, you know, like you said, like Timothy Dixon said in the chat, and it's kind of like, you know, they want to enact this for DRM purposes, but, you know, if they were smart enough to get, you know, firmware up to 4.55 hacked, like, what's the point? What makes you think that they're not going to figure out this DRM thing when Sony's been figured out in the past about this DRM thing? So yeah, I think they're poking the bear, and they probably should not go through with this, or maybe they're going to use this for something totally different. Who knows? But when you see them file a patent for something like this, you kind of get worried.
I mean, and you're absolutely correct. It could be maybe for something like movies on a new platform, and, you know, the whole scene could be looking at this wrong, but only time's going to tell. And Sony, you know, is like a company that's comfortable, and they wouldn't be afraid to push it on people.
Assassin, thoughts on this before we get off this topic?
If anyone defends this, you're stupid. I'm sorry, but like, if you made fun of Xbox for having something like this in 2013 and you defend it, like, just go away.
Yeah,
maybe Donnie Matrix got a new job over there.
Yeah, maybe. Good old Donnie Matrix, right? Yeah, so time will tell, but this is kind of like a scary filing, and people file patents all the time and nothing happens, but this was pretty fleshed out, and DRM is a pretty serious issue, so it's not just like, you know, it's not just like people filing patents for like weird 3D technology that will never see the light of day. I mean, DRM is a real thing, so you got to kind of take it seriously, I feel, at least a little bit. All right, we got two more quick topics. First of all, Johnny Marston's back, motherfuckers. It's essentially been confirmed. I mean, they didn't say Johnny Marston in the trailer, but it's essentially been confirmed that This is a prequel, Red Dead Redemption 2. If you watch the third trailer that just came out, you'll know that this is a prequel. It's set just before 1900. Wow, listen to this guy. Listen to this guy. The hate. Anyway, game's a prequel. You follow around. So you follow around the Vandalin tribe. Wow. Gang. John Marston was part of that gang, by the way. But it looks like you're going to be able to play multiple characters. Because primary character is Arthur Morgan. It looks like he's the main protagonist. He's kind of like, if you watch the trailer, you kind of got this from the trailer, but he's kind of like, having a little bit of a moral dilemma, whether he should stay with his gang or whether he should kind of abandon them because they're kind of doing some shady shit he doesn't agree with necessarily. So robbery went wrong in Blackwater, which if you played the first game, you know exactly what Blackwater is. Robbery goes wrong. The gang has to flee. And we don't really know what the deal is with Marston, but we know it's him because the scars on the face are stitched up, and he had the same scars in the Red Dead Redemption 1. But yeah, the action looked really good. I was kind of impressed with the trailer. I don't know what you guys thought of it.
I thought it looked pretty good. I was doing something at the time I was watching it, so I didn't, I caught it, but I wasn't had my full attention to it. But it looked better than the other trailers that they put out
in the
past.
Yeah, way better.
And it's finally nice to have a good open world game that's not made by Ubisoft. Ubisoft makes terrible open world games.
Yeah, dude. I mean, Rockstar, you have to wait like 6 years for a game to come out, but when they do, they look pretty damn good. And if this, I was gonna say in this, when I was like preparing for this podcast, I was thinking I'm gonna recommend that people don't necessarily play Red Dead Redemption 1. Like, you don't have to. I would recommend you do because I think it's an awesome game. But people ask always when the sequel comes out or whatever. When the second game comes out, they'll say, "Oh, do I have to play the first game in order to be really like in the series? Like, am I gonna be lost if I don't play the first one?" But in this game, Red Dead Redemption 2 is a prequel. All the characters, essentially that were in the first game are gonna be, explained in the second game. You don't really need to play Red Dead Redemption 1 if you don't already own it, but I would highly recommend it. Merc305 in the chat says, "You mean GodStar games?" Yeah, I mean, cannot tell a lie, right? George Washington Carver, right? But it's true. Like, look at the quality of this trailer compared to the trailers that you've seen for other games. Like, the quality is just night and day,
Yeah.
Even like God of War, like look how awesome God of War the game is. It comes out, one of the best, if not the best, single player exclusive experience of this generation. And then you see the trailers God of War had, and then you see the trailer that this game has, and you're just like, shit. Like, you're in for something good,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, this is a prequel, right? I mean, why couldn't they make a sequel? Why couldn't they go from the existing story? Now we got to go backwards and wait like another 20 years for a sequel. A sequel to the prequel, but a prequel to the sequel.
Well, let's hope there's not a sequel to the first game. You don't need his son.
Yes, his son could be a badass sheriff or something. Instead, they're just going to, make him be a flower boy or something, Plant flowers around the Mexico and pick the flowers, and it's probably what's going to happen. And this one, I guess he's the criminal that you heard of his stories in the first game, but I don't know, man, like kind of boring. It's Batman always had great prequels, right? So this got to work for this.
Yeah, doing prequels is a risk, and like even good games like Borderlands, the pre-sequel, Borderlands 2 was a phenomenal game. No knocking on that. One of my favorite games of all time, Borderlands 2. But the pre-sequel, like, I just felt like that lacked something. I don't know. It felt like I was bored with that game. I'm not gonna lie, I was bored with that
Not
game.
to defend it, but it was made by a totally different team.
Yeah, but it followed the same storyline. Like, it's not even the game
Oh
mechanics.
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Out there.
No, it's true. I mean, yeah, if it's made by the same people and it's boring, then you're gonna be harder on it than people who have to kind of like take the story that's been established, work backwards, and figure it out. I get it. But at the same time, prequels are just really hard to do, man. They're just really hard to do, and especially because everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of people who played the first game, they're familiar with those characters, they're familiar with how it played out and everything, and now you have to go back in time and set up that game, and you kind of, for people who've played the first game and who are dedicated to it, you kind of have to do it perfectly, or else people are going to find plot holes, people are going to find this, that, the other thing. You're going to have people, like we've talked about, kind of like the theme of this podcast, people bitch about anything.
I really hope that there's some fun mini games in there, like maybe a train simulator, so you could just like take the train and just simulate driving around forever and just running over people. I mean, that would probably be more fun to me than a prequel story.
Hey, it's Rockstar. I wouldn't doubt if that was in there. If they had like an online that's similar to GTA and they had something like that in the online, that'd be sick.
Like train racing?
Yes.
What would be the point of that though? Like, I doubt that there's going to be an area in the map that has two tracks right next to each other.
Whatever.
I highly doubt that.
I mean, look at Watch Dogs with those motorbikes, remember?
Horse racing, train racing, you need all that. In my opinion. I agree.
We all know the whole multiplayer is just going to be different types of card games.
Oh, that would be awesome.
By finger or whatever.
By finger.
Instead of loot crates, you bet real money.
Bet real money, yes. Yeah, microtransactions.
I don't think that will go too long.
Yeah, probably not. Probably. If anyone can get away with it, though, it's going to be Rockstar. But, I mean, they have. Look at GTA. I mean, shit.
They got the money to pay off the lawsuits.
Yeah, exactly, right? There's a little bit of a discussion in the YouTube chat. HTK360, great guy over at Next Level Gaming. He says, risk with multiple characters being able to be played like GTA 5 is that you get less emotionally invested in any of them. And then Timothy Dixon says it allows different characters to appeal to different players. So if you didn't like one of them, maybe you like the other one, then you're not screwed for the whole game and you'll actually end up liking it. So where do you guys stand on that? Because it kind of, this trailer kind of suggests that you're going to be able to play as John Marston. You're going to be able to play as Arthur Morgan. To play as a female character of some sort. You never know. But it suggests that, as it bounced back and forth between some of the perspectives, it suggests that you're going to be able to take over different characters, kind of like GTA 5. So not necessarily bounce back in real time like you kind of could in GTA 5, but you're going to be able to have different kind of storylines, where different sections where you start playing as somebody else. But what do you guys think about that? Do you think that would work well, or is that not a cool thing to have in a game like this?
I liked it in GTA 5, just having like different side missions tied to different people. It gives it a different variety of stuff. Long as the characters aren't all the same, like they have to have, like what was it, GTA 5? One of them, had an ability for driving, another one. You activate it, you could do a lot more damage and take a lot more damage, and so on and so forth. Like I like that. Or also in GTA 5, you had different stats for like driving, shooting, and stealth. Like there's they could get to that territory. Or I don't know. I prefer it.
Yeah. I mean, I like having different characters as well, and if they're different, then yeah, I mean, I think they should be different. And I liked how GTA had them kind of like meeting up too. Person went this way, one person went this way, one person went this way, and they're totally separate. Whatever, they kind of, not kind of, they definitely intermingled. I won't ruin it, but I mean, you've played GTA 5, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and I hope it's like that in this game too. But kind of like what you just said, Assassin. I hope that the characters are a lot different, because if they're very similar, I mean, in this game, you kind of run that risk, right? Because like everyone is kind of like a vigilante. Everyone's like in a gang of some sort. Like if you think of Red Dead Redemption 1, don't want to put any spoilers in, but if you think of like, you know, the gangs and you think of the different, you know, good guys that you encounter and stuff, a lot of those people are the same. You know what I mean? A lot of those people, you know, you're in this like very tight-knit community, and a lot of people run their lives very similarly. So like you kind of run that risk in Red Dead Redemption that, you know, there isn't going to be divergence. There isn't going to be enough difference between characters, but hopefully they figure it out, you know?
Yeah, if the game wasn't made by Rockstar, I'd be a little worried, but Rockstar has pulled this off in GTA 5, so I think they could do, you know, the same stuff, but better in this one.
Yep. Clowns, last word on this, the Red Dead Redemption thing, playing as different characters, anything?
I mean, I would hope that Rockstar would put something unique in there, like maybe like somewhere in the story you get to do a gunfight, and depending on who lives or dies, it changes the whole story.
Dude, can you imagine that? That's actually a sick idea. Like, you know, look at like a game like Detroit, right? A lot of us played the demo. I didn't plan about talking about this in the podcast, but I played the demo at PAX. I played at E3. And a lot of people I know played the demo and were really impressed with it. And that game is so built on the fact that you can do things so differently, and the game completely changes, you know? Like in Telltale games, it's kind of like that, but not really, right? Like you're kind of led a different way, but at the end, you know, it's kind of similar. It's not like totally divergent endings or anything like that. But whereas in Detroit, you know, you get totally divergent endings. How cool would it be in Red Dead Redemption that what Clowns just said, like there's a standoff, right? And like they draw and some person lives, and then you take over that other person. That'd be cool. I kind of like that. Xbox,
yeah,
Xbox
I would love something like that, man.
Xbox says Detroit is a glorified storybook. Oh my god. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, it's true, but it's fun. It's kind of fun.
Well, even Beyond Two Souls, like, you know, you do something in chapter 1, and then like affects the whole entire game, and then like, not to get in spoiler territory, but at the end, like, there's even more choices on which ending you're getting. You're like, crap, you know, because like the choice I picked, like, there was like 6 different options I could have picked. So then if I want all the endings for the trophy, I have to literally play the last mission or the whole game like 8 different times on just one, you know, choice I made.
Yeah.
You know, I want to throw this out there. There's a game in Game Pass right now called Late Shift. And yeah, it's like a corny B-type cinema-style movie, but the choices that you make in the game are kind of fantastic for what they put into it. I love it. I went back and got like 3 different endings already.
Yeah, so maybe, you know, these kinds of things becoming popular is going to lead Rockstar to go in a different direction. Because when did Red Dead Redemption 1 come out? Like 2011? Red Dead and release date. Was it like 2011? What was it? No, it was May 18th, 2010. It's been 8 years since this game came out, and a lot has happened in gaming. I mean, people like their choices. Maybe they will do that. Maybe there'll be something like that in the game. And maybe that's where we'll get our different characters being playable, you know? Maybe it's not necessarily like GTA where you can swap them on the fly, or you have different storylines, you know, at different parts of the story, or different characters at different parts of the story, but maybe it is kind of like a choice-based thing. Who knows? Kind of cool. Dad says there's 7 endings in Late Shift. Wow, I need to check that out. Sounds like a cool game. All right, yeah, so that's the Red Dead stuff. I mean, I'm sure there'll be a couple more trailers. We'll talk about them, but this trailer was certainly the best, this 3rd trailer. So I figured we'd talk about that because it really told us a lot about the game, and it's got a lot of people hyped based on what they saw, and the game looks gorgeous. I can't believe that that's an engine. Like, that just looks really, really good. And if it runs buttery smooth, I'm just going to be really impressed because there's just a lot of stuff going on in that game.
Yeah, I think Rockstar is going to nail this. As far as the game goes, I think the graphics are going to hold up. I think, you know, the cinematics are going to hold up. I think it's going to be probably one of the best looking games this generation.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. Got some competition because I mean, freaking God of War looks great, and that's checkerboarded. I mean, somebody was talking on Twitter about, I think it was Kid Smooth or somebody talking about how awesome Gears of War 4 looks and how like they forgot how awesome it looks. That game looks freaking awesome. Like there are a lot of great looking games now that we've got such high end hardware out there. Not only on PC, but you know, like PS4 Pro, Xbox One X. I mean, there's just a lot of competition on good looking games. So, and this looks like it's poised to blow both those games out of the water, or all those games out of the water, I should say. All right, last but not least, we'll end the show on this. Here's a screenshot right here of something that could be potentially scary for people. So this is from, I think this is from Poland. Don't quote me on that, but essentially this is going to happen all over Europe, and it looks like it's going to extend, you know, in other territories as well. But people have been getting messages on Xbox Live that as of June of 2018 that Games Pass is going to be going up in price. So we got a little bit of this back a couple months ago where listings on Amazon and on Best Buy showed Games Pass gift cards that said $11.99. I think they might actually be still on there. Let me check while we talk about this really quick. But if you look at Game Pass digital codes, right? Oh, yeah, it's still on there right now. Okay, if you go to Amazon, you type in Game Pass gift card, right? There's a $10 version and this is on the US one. There's a $10 version. There's a $12 version. I think there's an $11 version. Like, why are there multiple versions? You know what I mean? You know, I was thinking, okay, well, maybe like you'll be able to subscribe to a higher end Games Pass, like a $12 one that will give you like all the DLC for all the games or something along that line. I don't know. But I don't know. It looks like though that in Europe, any region where the Games Pass was below €10, it looks like they're gonna bump up the price. So, Cloud, you kind of brought this to my attention. So you want to give your thoughts on it real quick?
I mean, I think for if this does in fact hold weight, I'll say that first. But if it does happen, I think Xbox is making a huge mistake because they're trying to get everybody into Game Pass. I think by raising the price right now, it's too early to do so, and they're going to shoot themselves in the foot on this one. I think they should give it like a little bit of time, maybe at least another year, add some more quality stuff in there, get some third parties signed on, you know, before they think about maneuver like this, especially in Europe, of all places where they need market share. I mean, it's for the Xbox brand itself, it's just a bad move. I know Microsoft is financially secure, but it's just going to make Xbox look like an enemy to some Europeans.
Yeah, we're getting a couple. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, you know, no one likes to be charged more money. I mean, not only in the US, but pretty much anywhere. No one likes to be charged more money for the same product, essentially. So I kind of agree with you, Clowns. I think before raising the price anywhere, they should probably, you know, sign on some more enticing things. Because Games Pass right now, for diehards, I mean, is it worth it? Not really. I mean, you get the Microsoft Studios games. That's cool. You know, you'll have Forza. You'll have State of Decay when that comes out.
Halo 3 Anniversary.
Halo 3 Anniversary, if that comes out, right, Xbot? You know, when Sea of Thieves came out, you got that day one. You know, for that, it's a nice play, but a lot of people play third-party games. They want those included in the thing, and they're not included until, you know, a lot further down the line of their life cycle. So, but we're getting some comments in the chat about this. David SNC, who I believe is from Europe, says it's cheaper to buy from those regions in the UK. They're just making them closer to $10 USD. And then Xbox says that as well. They're making the price more equal to the US one. But, you know, I've seen that these people are getting raised prices that are a little over 10 USD. Like some of them are like 11, some of them are getting to 12 USD. So, you know, why not just make it like flat out 10 USD? Like, I know these prices fluctuate a lot. I know the euro gets stronger one day, 1 minute it's down, 1 minute it's up. I know that that's how it is. And same thing with the pound and, you know, currencies in other regions. I understand. But, Microsoft needs to, I feel, set a price for everyone and kind of like keep it at that. And I know that's not how it works for games because of taxes and all this stuff. But Games Pass is like strictly a digital product. I feel like they should have more control over that in some way, shape, or form, and like offset the taxes so it doesn't look like that, people are paying drastically different prices or whatnot. I mean, say for instance in the US it's $10 and some person gets it bumped up now to like €10. I mean, that's a drastically different price. That's a huge difference, And then David says, not USD, they get messages in their own currency. No, I know, I understand that, and I think that obviously makes sense. But, it's not looking like they're trying to bring it closer to 10 USD, but it's not even like they're standardizing it. They're just bumping it up to closer to 10 USD, but sometimes they're going over it, so that kind of sucks. From what I've seen, at least. Assassin, what if they go up to like $12? Are you gonna not get it now, or what are you thinking?
I don't have it to begin with.
No, I know, but you've been mulling it. I know. I've been in your dreams. I've been seeing what you.
No.
Yeah, I saw a dream that you had one time where you just clicked on that buy button, man. You just went on that subscription model.
I don't think I'll ever buy a Game Pass unless I'm really broke and there's a Microsoft Studios game coming out that I really want to play.
It's $1 right now.
Yeah, I also have trial, so why spend $1 and keep these at free?
It's like a bean burrito at Taco Bell.
Yeah, those things are disgusting.
Well, fun fact that my brother kind of turned me on to here is that if you do Bing rewards every day on your computer, you can get Games Pass for free essentially every month. Same thing with Xbox Live. If you just do all the searches or whatever on Bing, you'll get enough credits every month to just have it for free.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes they have those sales and clowns will message me and be like, dude, you got to check out Bing rewards or Microsoft rewards. They're doing a $10 card for 1,000 points, and those deals you definitely should get on. But sometimes, they don't have those deals or whatever. And I think the best thing you can do if you're an Xbox gamer is just get Live or Games Pass for free every month if you just do your searches.
I don't know. There used to be a Chrome extension that would automatically do it for you.
Yes. I remember that. There is actually a Chrome extension now that simulates mobile use, so you can get your mobile searches done as well.
Yeah.
So, Hacky Sacked in the YouTube chat says it'll be following the Netflix model more closely if it goes to 12. Yeah, I mean Netflix. Yes, okay. Netflix has been steadily going up in price, and people get pissed and whatnot, whatever. But I mean, at least they're adding like a lot of quality stuff. Like, look at how Netflix has added so much original content that's like really compelling.
Especially that cartoon Big Mouth.
Don't ever watch it. It's a complete waste of your time.
I think Inferno's seen it.
Have you seen it, Inferno?
Yes. Yeah. It's not as bad as you say. It's not terrible. It's not as bad as you say.
Do you know how many awards that thing's been nominated for?
Oh my god,
that thing is very popular.
Shit. Like, I could take a dump. It could probably win an award right now.
Wow, Assassin.
And
maybe you just don't have a comedy bone in you. Maybe you just don't know good comedy. I mean, hey, it happens to some people, and we can try and help you. For instance, in Wisconsin State Fair, cows get awards, and then they get shot for food. Like, should we keep the cow alive because it won an award? No. Is that what ruined your life for comedy?
Wow, Assassin, that was actually a very good analogy. I must give you props for that.
That was very deep. I think his soul was feeling some pain.
Yeah, dude. He's got that cow out back he's thinking about killing in his backyard.
I don't have room for a cow.
You got room for a couple cows in your backyard. I know you do.
Couple? Oh my god.
What? So you could fit like a whole herd? Jeez, man.
Oh.
You just need one. Cows. You just need one heifer, and you can get a whole steed going.
No.
I don't know the breeding cycles. You're gonna have to watch Animal Planet for that, but I'm pretty sure you can get a few calves a year.
Poor cows, man. Poor cows. I'm just gonna say that, Assassin. And in the meantime, you could be watching Big Mouth.
Or I could, put my time more useful and not do that.
True. Like
He
play more
watched
games.
like 5 minutes of the first episode, and he's
no,
like,
you gotta watch more than that,
watched the
Assassin.
first full episode and like half of a second. I'm like, no, this is
half of a second. You see that?
Assassin, you didn't give it enough time, bro. You did not give it enough time.
I gave like half hour of my time. That was good enough.
Oh. Anyway, Games Pass may be going up in price. Who knows if it is here in the US? Maybe they're just trying to get it to $10 USD, but people in Europe that watch the show to above 10 USD, I feel bad for you. And you know what? I think that would be enough for people to think about not having it. Because, honestly, I don't think it's really worth more than $10. It's cool for the Microsoft Studios games, and that's a huge value add. But other than, there's a lot of stuff in there that's just not very good. They added like Overcooked the other day. They added like 7 games to Games Pass that were pretty good. I think that was like last week, I think. And they added Overcooked. I mean, that's a great game. But like, I feel like it's just a, here or there kind of thing where they add great stuff. Otherwise, it's like, it's kind of mediocre. But anyway, I think that's it. I think we are done for tonight. Next week, hopefully, this empty chair will be filled with one of the lovely people in the community who we'd like to have on the podcast. So, I mean, if you're interested in coming on, we are definitely, we're looking for somebody to come on, come on and be on a week here, a week there, Probably won't be somebody permanent necessarily, but who knows? We'll see. But you can find us everywhere. Just search 4GwQPodcast. You'll find us absolutely everywhere. You'll even find us on the Xbox App Store now, because Clowns has worked diligently to get a 4GwQPodcast app on the Xbox App Store. Actually, on the Microsoft App Store, not just on Xbox, but the Microsoft App Store. So search 4GwQPodcast there. You'll find us. You can download our app. That'd be cool if you did that. But on Twitter, we are 4GwQPodcast, and that's the only place where we're kind of different. So make sure you're following us on Twitter. Hit the like button if you really like this podcast. If you didn't, just hit us up and tell us what you didn't like, and we'll see what we can do. Other than that, episode 168 is a wrap. Peace.